Welcome back, everybody, to the channel on this beautiful November day. Crazy we're getting such good weather here. Bringing you one today from the personal stable. And it's a shame didn't bring a video sooner because this thing's been sitting around and pretty poorly weathered because of that. But it's actually one of my personal vehicles that I've had for 20 plus years, I guess. At least 20, if not more. But it is sitting on 16.5 by 18 Weld Wheels. That's correct, 16.5 by 18 and in 6 lug. So not only a rare wheel, but extremely rare with the stretch and the absolutely perfect polish job. A new set of 40-inch boggers. These wheels are like mirrors. The video here just does no justice, but so about 5 years ago, this truck was sitting on 6 3/8, 6-inch suspension, IFS still. This was one of the very first trucks that we ever lifted with IFS suspension. But I dropped it off with Brian and Daniel and said, hey, fit this in between projects and let's solid axle it. So they did, and of course, being mine, they had to make an example out of it as to how perfect that one can be done, and obviously no expense spared. But it doesn't look as good as it did the day they did it. But here's a little rundown. So we got the Dana 44 front axle with a custom hoop they made. They smoothed out the frame where all the original brackets were and capped it off. Stainless brake lines, dual Fox shocks. Chose to do a sway bar, which is not 100% necessary, and also a track bar. You can see their reinforced bracket system there to tie the frame together, and a pan hard bar or track bar. Everybody calls it something different with heim joints. Again, you can see the rust on everything because it's just been sitting. Everything was hammer powder coated when it was done. You see the welds, super clean. Unbelievable talent on that stuff. The axle was fully cleaned up. The gears were matched. This thing's got 4/88 front and back. Tie rod was powder coated. It actually had a really nice dual steering stabilizer system, which we actually just took off because it was kind of darty. It had Fox. You couldn't have bought a better system, but it was kind of darty on the road. And with the red head steering box, all the steering components being brand new, there was really no reason for it to drive like that. Chose to do the greasable bushings. And you can't see the steering box, but it's a red head steering box. Functional front drive shaft. Four-wheel drive does work, and that's why this stuff is rusty, because this is my go-to when it snows, because it's always sitting there, usually with a dead battery. Went ahead and did the newer style HD mirrors. Had the windows retinted after 20 years. They were purple. Got that done. Rear springs with a truss on the rear axle. And we're going to clean it up a little bit. It definitely needs a good detailing underneath. And I think, you haven't dropped your comments on here, but I think we're going to go with flat black on the top section. The middle is perfect. The green, other than the few little scratches from hunting and driving it, which will buff up, I think we're going to go with green in the middle, flat black up top, and of course flat black down bottom. And just clean the rest of it up a little bit. That's the third set of headlights this thing has had. They don't last very well. It used to sit indoors and it was very clean. It's still a solid truck. It's not rusty. As you can see, the frame's clean, and just a ton of surface rust where everything was sandblasted and soda blasted, and then I just neglected to paint everything, so it does need a good paint job. New exhaust with a Flowmaster. Kept it simple, single there. Fox rear shocks. But that is the way you do a proper solid axle. You can check Daniel's channel. He's got one on there. They just finished a white one for a customer of ours. They went a little bit bigger. This here, I'd call it, it's hard to figure when you figure the solid axle brackets and everything, but this is probably 8 and 3. It might be 9 because of the solid axle brackets, but you know, when you do one of these, you use the leaf spring from an old school Chevy. And of course, the shackle goes in the back. That shackle's got perfect flow, sitting just like it should, right up and down, with a slight touch to the back so it swings the right way. Another good view of the bracketry that holds the track bar. And all that is extremely reinforced into the frame. Again, super clean welds, tying everything together. We've seen a ton of hack jobs when people do solid axles, that's for sure. People are like, oh, pick me up a $500 axle and I can throw it under my truck with a set of $500 brackets. And you absolutely can, until you start buying a couple $1,000s worth of shocks, a sway bar kit, a track bar system, or make a track bar. A lot of people use tractor links for that. Don't get me wrong, we've even done that for some off-road stuff. It does work, but it's not proper. But anyway, this one's going to get a little more cleaning up, but a cool 2-door on 40-inch boggers. So she is definitely sitting fat. 16.5 by 18s. Those wheels I think started off as 12s and we did a 6-inch stretch, but might have been 14s and went 4, but either way, really hard to find 6-lug 16.5 wheels. Interior is pretty clean, but we're going to freshen that back up again too. Seats are in good shape. Doesn't have but 130,000 miles on it, so headliner's still good. Junk everywhere. I think it had about 100,000 when I bought it. It wasn't but maybe 4 or 5 years old, so it already was kind of high miles back then. It just hasn't been driven. So no, it's not for sale. It's one of them that is not and will not have a price put on it. But a pretty cool setup. Definitely stocky. You know it when it's coming down the road at you, and I think the flat black's gonna look good. Let me know you guys' thoughts. Another cool thing with this truck, if you go on our website, it shows, you know, it's had like 20 different wheel and tire combinations. This was a guinea pig for years, because as I switched other trucks of mine over to 8-lug, I had lots of extra 6-lug stuff sitting around. So it's been on Pernelli Jones, it's been on 35 boggers, 35 swampers, 35 stretched out BFGs, a set of 38 swampers, a set of gumbo mutters. Man, you name it, this thing has been on every tire and wheel you could imagine. Torsion bars cranked up, torsion bars lowered down. Pretty much every configuration you could put at it. Then it just had a set of fuel wheels, which are for sale. Check our Facebook page. 24 by 16s with 37s. That was the last combination it had. Going to be letting those go. Check the website for all the other good stuff. And we did use OBS in the title. OBS typically is related to a Ford 92 to 97 generation, but people do call the classic Chevys, the 88 to 98s like that, OBS is also. So little slang terms, but we got the OBS Ford sitting over there too. That one will post up soon, and inventory galore. So check us out, davisautosales.com, davis4x4.com. Sorry to tease you with something that's not for sale, but that one was just too good to pass up. And if you're in need of tow trucks for your end of the year expenses or anything at all, check us out.